Hello everyone, welcome to Ops on Cloud. In this specific video, let's try to dig deeper in GitHub Actions event filters. So basically, GitHub Action event filters in the sense it helps you to granularly control your GitHub workflows. All right. So imagine you run your workflows on every push to your repository. That is actually like insufficient way of doing things. That is where event filter comes into picture. So for example, if you see in this specific workflow that I have given as an example, right? So you'll be able to see. So we have branches. Under branches, we have main branch and release branch. So what happens here is this workflow will trigger only when we push to main branch we or any branches which starts from releases. Okay, and also you can see there is something called as path ignore. Path ignore means we have done changes in this branch itself, but the changes has been done inside a docs folder or something. So now what happens every time when you do some changes in a documentation or something like that, right? So you should not trigger your workflow. It's not really necessary. That is where this path ignore comes into picture. Not only doing that, you can also basically add a negation here. So the negation can be added at this main branch, release branch level, and also even at the path ignores as well. So if you see here, I have added a negation here. So for example, if you are doing any changes other than src, so this specific workflows will trigger. So that is what we are trying to control with the help of negation. Other than that, you have various other options like tags also. With the help of tags, you can give like much more granular control in GitHub Actions. Let's quickly go and explore the GitHub's official website and see, like documentation and see like what are the other options they have. If you come to GitHub's official documentation, see, so this is for like using filters. This we have already discussed, and similarly, you can basically specify the activity types on each filter's events. Okay, so basically, if you see if the label type as created, then it will trigger, and also push and page field like this multiple types are there. I would highly recommend you to go through this documentation. I will paste it in the description of this video. Okay, so this gives us much better control. And do you see the regular expression patterns that has been used here? So it's more like something which starts with releases and ends with alpha, like that. Basically it uses a pattern match. Okay, that is something which we are trying to do. All right, and also if you see, this is an example of negation at branches level. And similarly, you can simply come scroll down and you can see the tags. So basically, so for which tags you want to trigger version of your application or GitHub tags, right? So that is also something which we can mention. So I would highly recommend you to go through this documentation. It really gives you a very good understanding of the complete event filter. And event filters are something which we use it very frequently in our day-to-day responsibilities as a CI/CD developers or something. All right. So let's close this specific topic and quickly jump for the next one. Now let's discuss about activity type. So what is activity type? Activity type means it's more like having more control over GitHub action events, workflow triggers. Okay, so it's just a powerful way for us to fine tune when our workflow will run. Okay, so let's assume, you have a pull request. Okay, for example, you have a pull request, and this pull request isn't just created, it can be open, it can be synchronized, and pull request can be closed or labeled. Okay, so what happens is with the help of activity type, we can specifically tell a workflow on what specific event of a pull request we want to trigger a workflow. So that is where exactly activity types comes into picture. By default, GitHub uses three activity types, which is opened, synchronized, and reopened. All right. But if you want your workflows to run on any other events, especially when you raise pull request or something. Like for example, when you close a pull request, or when you try to label a pull request, okay, you will have to define them explicitly. Okay, so that is why I have given this example here. So in this example, if you see, I have created under the types section, we have opened and synchronized. This means for activity types, GitHub will go by OR logic. It will, because like at the same time, you cannot open a pull request and you cannot close this pull request, right? Both will not happen in one shot together. So that is the reason, like these two logic, whatever is there, it will work in OR logic. But with types and branches, these two will work in AND logic, types and branches. All right, which means you will have to do any changes in main or release branch, and then the type of the pull request should be opened or synchronized. That is where it comes into picture. Okay, so and one more thing, there is a GitHub official documentation. So if you go here, so you can see what are the, I mean, like pull request types that is there. By default, as I already mentioned, GitHub will help use for like open, updated, synchronized, only for such kind of triggers. But you can also go together in detail here. But if you see here, you have one for assigned, unassigned, labeled, opened. All these things are there. And most important of all, so the moment you try to define it here, right? The activity types, the default activity types, whatever is there, that would be overridden by this one. Okay. So now, I mean, like, let's make sure, I'll just keep it like, for example, here there is something called as assigned, right? So here, if I change it to, sorry, here, if I change it to assigned, here if I change it to assigned, right? So the default activity types, whatever is there, like opening a pull request, updating a pull request. So for such kind of triggers, this workflow will not run. Okay, that is where I mean, like you'll have to be little cautious. All right, that is all about activity types. I would highly recommend you to go through this documentation of GitHub. There are a lot of activity types which is being defined here. So you can simply go and explore it. Basically, that would give you a good understanding. So if you see here, there is one for pull request review submitted. At that time, if you want to trigger a workflow, you can do that. So almost all, I mean, like everything, whatever you can do in activity type is there in this specific documentation. I have just discussed about the few which we use it frequently. So now let's go and do a practice. So I have created this file. So let's try to quickly develop the workflow. So what should be the workflow? Name is event and activity types. All right. And then this should trigger on pull request, pull request, and then it is types, control space, yeah. Under types, so what we'll do is we'll try to keep a list as one is opened if the pull request is opened, and then the next one is synchronized, which is like which we update or do some reactions like that. And then this should run on branch main branches. So here I will use it for main branch. Okay. So now once I'm done with this, the next step is we'll go ahead and create a job. Okay. Jobs and echo. All right. So now what are we supposed to do? It should runs on Ubuntu. I'll use latest always. Let me keep it like that. And then steps. Under steps, I will use run. And now I will have to basically, I'll just add a comment, trigger when a PR is raised or updated on main. Okay, fine. We did this. Okay. So now git status. Okay, this was my old the last video's continuation. I mean, like the commits. I have deleted it. So git add dot git commit hyphen m. So what should, let's give it like event and activity type practice. So this is the first iteration. I'll make it as one. So now git push. Alright, so let's go ahead and see what has happened. Come here, actions, and if you see here, it's not getting triggered, which is as expected, because if you see here, so the trigger is pull request, and we have also mentioned types. Either a pull request should be opened, synchronized, and this should happen on main batch only. Only then this will work. So let's try to go back here and go to GitHub Actions. Okay. Sorry. I guess I have done a small mistake. So cd dot git status. Yeah. Dot commit this one also. And now git push. Okay. Done deal. Yes. So again, let's come and verify. The action is not triggered. This is as expected. So now what we will do is, let's try to create a branch and then we will try to raise a pull request. After raising a pull request, let's see whether an action will be triggered or not. Alright. So for that, what we are supposed to do, let's create a branch. Git. So this is the main branch. Git checkout hyphen B. So I will create a branch called as test. Okay. This is my test branch. Alright. So now inside the test branch, I will create a readme file. Touch readme.md. Yeah. Done. Let's add something here. What shall we add? I am testing PR events. Events. Okay. Save this. So let me git add dot git commit hyphen m. Let me make it like 2 and then git push. So this is not there. So let us run this command and we will push it. 2, 3, fire. Yeah, this is pushed. All right. So after pushing, so what we are supposed to do here is, let's go to our repository and let's try to see here. You see already a test branch has been created. Okay. And it has a readme as well. Come here. This is a test branch. Okay. Do you see I am testing PR events? Compare and pull request. Okay. So once we have raised a pull request, let's try to first PR. Okay. Let me try to click on create pull request. So now this pull request has been created. So technically the actions should trigger. Let's see here. If you see here, action was triggered. Details, and if you see trigger command, line 1 trigger command not found. Let's try to go ahead and verify. Where are we doing what? Line 1 trigger. Okay. So here the reason for this error is, if you notice, I'm using run command, but actually I'm not using any shell activities. So we should add echo. Alright. So now technically it should work. Okay. So basically the mistake is it was treating the first word trigger as a, I mean, like Linux keyword or something like that command. So let's try to git add dot git commit. Okay. And now let's do a git push. Yes. Okay. It was already there. So just run it. Okay. Actions. Let me open this in a new tab and let me go to the pull request also. This pull request is still open. So if you see here, all check have passed, because that is because the action was successful. Do you see here? Okay. See, if you notice, for the first time when I did some changes, okay, when I raised the pull request, it was the pull request opened. Second time when we saw some issues in our pipeline, I had to fix it, right? So that event was triggered based on the synchronization. Okay, so even open will be trigger. Open will help us to trigger only when a pull request has been opened for the first time. Whereas after that, it is all about synchronization. I mean, like whatever the updates we do, whatever the changes we do and push it, right? Everything will be happened through synchronization. So now what we will do is I will try to do these changes like this. So I'll remove this open and hyphen, I'll make it closed. Here let's make it like trigger when PR is closed. Alright, save it. What we will do is git add dot git commit hyphen m, let's make it 3, and now git push. Alright, let it push and let's go back. Let's look into the action. Obviously this specific action is not triggered because we have updated. So now let's come here, see the pull request, go to the pull request. This PR is done, right? So now what we will do is we will try to merge this pull request. Confirm merge. Okay, the pull request is successfully merged. Let's go to action. Okay, if you go and look into the actions, you see here this specific pull request, it is closed, and do you see echo triggered when a PR is closed? Echo trigger when a PR is closed. So basically, the moment when we merged that pull request, right, the action close, the activity close triggered this specific workflow. Okay, this is how basically this events and workflows work. I mean, like they go hand in hand in combination. And you see here the event name, you can also, it's also visible here. Basically the PR is closed. Okay, So just try to practice with the various other activity types and event filters. The one which I have showed in the GitHub official documentation. There are like multiple other ways are there. I would recommend you to go and explore different things. If you want on any specific activity types or filters, right? So please do let me know. I will try to create a separate video for that. All right. So that's it for now, guys. See you in the next video. If you like the work I'm doing, please make sure that you subscribe for this channel and share it with your friends who are preparing for interviews or who wants to uh, grow themselves in DevOps or something. Yeah, just make sure them to uh, just share it with them. Okay. All right. Bye bye.